Tabac Original, die individuelle Duftnote. Eau de Cologne. Aftershave Lotion. Luxusseife. Tabac Original für Menschen, die das Individuelle lieben.
Hello everyone, welcome in for another shave video. I hope all is well. In this video we're going to look at several Tabac products. We're going to look at the shave soap, the splash, and the balm. We're going to do a shave and then take a look at the cologne and EDT and compare the scent profiles of the splash, balm, cologne, and EDT. If you'd like to skip ahead to any particular portion of the video, including each of the separate passes in the shave, just check the description box below for the timestamps or in the comments area and click on those, and you can move around to particular portions of the video. Now, Tabac's been around since 1959. You see there some of the original scent notes of bergamot, neroli, lavender, tobacco, oak moss, and vanilla. But as we'll talk about a bit later, those notes have changed up through the years from product to product. Now, you're probably used to the Tabac container that looks like this porcelain container. But as you all know, we have to find a way to limit our shaving soap purchases or the money we spend on shaving soap. And so I just bought the puck a couple years ago and stuck it into a coffee cup, stuck the sticker on the side, and that's worked well for me. But I will probably eventually purchase that porcelain container. We'll also be using the aftershave splash, which is called a lotion in much of Europe. We'll talk about that. And also use the aftershave balm. And spend a little time talking about the EDC and EDT as well. So I start out the shave with a hot towel, or more specifically a hot washcloth, just warmed with water from the sink, from the tap, actually including water from a hot kettle. I'm using Prep pre-shave product in this shave. You can purchase this at ItalianBarber.com and other retailers. Italian Barber talks about the fact that this Prep 3P, which I used in the last shave, and Parasso are the most common pre-shave products in Italy. Italian Barber adds that the 3P is their favorite. The Prep product to me is very similar to the 3P product. It has the same texture, has that same scent. The scent again reminds me of Noxzema, which I actually haven't used since I was a teenager. If you're not familiar with Noxzema, Noxzema is a face wash. It used to be used commonly, at least as I was growing up in the 70s and 80s. So after rewarming the hot washcloth, I place it back over the pre-shave product. Let it sit there for a bit to soak in, warm up, get my face ready for the shave. Then after taking off the hot towel, I just wipe off any excess pre-shave because it's already had time to really soak in. I'm using a Maggard's synthetic brush. Link all the products in the description. Just wet the synthetic brush and shake it out. Nice thing about a synthetic is you don't have to soak it like you do a natural bristle brush. Pros and cons to natural brushes versus synthetics. So I'm not building a lather here, although it looks like I am. I'm just trying to load the brush. As a result, I do get some lather off of it, but it's just a good start for getting the face lather going. So we'll go in here and build our face lather. Tabac performs really well for me. That's true for most wet shavers. Tabac is legendary. It's been around since 1959, as we talked about at the beginning of this video. But it also just has a place in the pantheon of shaving soaps because of its longevity, because of its performance. Now, the scent is something that has to grow on you, at least from my experience. It's definitely an old school scent. The shaving soap is a bit different from the scents that you would smell in the aftershave products and the EDC and EDT, which we'll talk about a bit more later in the video. We'll talk about those scent notes and what's there. I'm using a Bazzano blade in this shave. This is the Mueller R108, which has the standard R89 head, not to be confused with the R41 head. So this is a closed comb head with a tortoiseshell handle. So it only differs from the R89 in that it has a different handle. I will say the handle is a little slick, but for a mild razor, it's very much manageable. Just have to make sure you don't have soap on your hands when you're using this razor. But I love that beautiful tortoiseshell handle. It's a bit different from anything I have in my collection. So I discovered I needed to add just a little bit more water. I was looking at it and thinking I could go with this, but I wanted to add more water to see if I could get this lather to explode a bit, to build a bit more volume. So I go back in and dip the tips and get some more lather going. You can see here I've accidentally left the shave den door open, or the shave closet door open there. You can see a little bit of my system for storage. I'll do a video soon where I go through my whole storage system and how I keep all of my shaving products organized in the den there. So starting the first pass here with the green. Very slick soap, great primary and residual slickness, so no problem buffing back over areas where you've already removed the lather. Okay, starting the second pass here across the grain. Now you may notice as I start to apply the lather for this third pass that it's a little thin. I noticed that myself, and so I go back in and add a little water and try to build a little bit more lather on the face here. Now a lot of wet shavers will say this is a no-no to use the brush on your face after you have already shaved there because it's sensitive. But I find that, oftentimes you just run out of good lather in the brush, but there may still be soap in there. It's just not lathered up, and so you just have to dip back in like you're doing an initial lather. A lot of people will have rules for you within wet shaving. There are some that you need to sort of stick to, like not moving your razor side to side. That's pretty clear and evident. But for other things, you just have to do what works for you. That's what's great for me about traditional wet shaving. It's a highly individualized experience, but there's such a great community that can give you tips and tricks. But ultimately, you have to find what works for you. And so you sort of go on your own shaving journey, if you will, to find the best products and the best technique, and you just have to stick with it and trust what works for you, but keeping an ear open to what you might could learn from others that might help improve your shave experience. But ultimately what this is about is you performing a required task, right, shaving, but enjoying it at the same time. And I've found in my own life that that's something I often try to do, is those things I do on a daily or semi-daily basis, that I use products that help me enjoy that experience much more. And so wet shaving is one of those things for me. Okay, on this third pass we're going against the grain, and you'll notice here on my neck I have a little bit of a nick that you'll see sort of weep a little bit as we go through the rest of the shave. If you've watched the channel before, you may have noticed I often like to pull the remaining lather out of the brush on the pickup pass, or the fourth pass if you will. And it allows me to just massage the lather into the face, but also at the same time feel for any areas where I need to do some pickups. Okay, in talking about the post-shave products, it's helpful to first talk about the EDC, the eau de cologne, and the EDT, the eau de toilette, because these have two very different scents in my mind, and if you read many of the fragrance websites, you'll see that other consumers feel the same way about it. The EDT has a atomizer top, a spray top, whereas the cologne, or EDC, has a delimiter splash top. Now, as you might imagine, the scent profiles for both of these products and the aftershave splash and balm are a bit different than this more simple explanation we looked at earlier. If you go to the Tabac official website, you can see that they describe the Tabac original scent, which is what they still call the scent. I think there may have been a reformulation at one point, or it may just have been a change in packaging, but when you buy Tabac now, it says Tabac Original. As you can see here, they describe Tabac as having peppery, spicy accents, aldehydic notes, exotic woods, and a floral complex that lie at the heart of this masculine scent of Tabac Original. Each of the products in the range has a slightly different composition, which is true, and we'll talk more about that. The ideal blend of distinctive masculinity and classically elegant fragrances has been interpreted with subtle differences in this range of scent products. And it is in a range of scents, I might add. As they point out here, there's different compositions. So none of these products smell exactly the same. I think some of that is because of the different interactions between the fragrance and the base composition of the products, whether it be oils or butters. But for other products, it seems to be by design, because the EDC and EDT, although obviously in different concentrations, they also seem to be just completely different scents, as we'll look at. Now, elsewhere on the Tabac site, they describe the scent of the original as a sophisticated composition, fragrance with peppery, spicy notes, and elegantly rounded off by exotic woods, musk, ambergris, and a floral complex, an unmistakable fragrance with a discreet presence. Now, this seems to me to be a best fit for what the EDT smells like to me. If you look at fragrantica.com, you'll notice that there are two different entries for Tabac. Now, what's a bit confusing is they are both for an EDT, and the EDC is not really mentioned. But this scent profile that you see here, to me, again, best fits with the EDT rather than the EDC. So as described by this entry on Fragrantica, the notes of Tabac Original provide a tart, sparkling, and refreshing blend of such notes as petitgrain, bergamot, neroli, lemon, and pepper. The heart encompasses aromatic flavors of lavender, chamomile, geranium, and oak tree absolute. The base is composed of carnation, sandalwood, vetiver, musk, and hot amber. And for me, when you smell the EDT, you get a lot of that petitgrain, a grassy note that's rather sharp. So here's what the EDT smells like to me. Here's my description. It's much sharper and biting than the EDC, more soapy. You get lots of the petitgrain, as I said, and the pepper, and it stays sharp, green, floral, and peppery on the dry down. Now, the other entry for Tabac on Fragrantica.com describes it as an aromatic fougere fragrance for men, with top notes of aldehydes, lavender, neroli, bergamot, and lemon. Middle notes are carnation, sandalwood, orris root, jasmine, rose, and pine tree needles. Base notes are tonka bean, amber, musk, vanilla, oak moss, and tobacco. Now, this description falls much more in line with what I get from the EDC, the eau de cologne. And as you can see here, the main notes, according to votes from Fragrantica users, have those top notes of aldehydes, tobacco, and lavender. And on the dry down, you continue to get the tobacco, but you also get vanilla, amber, and the tonka bean. So to my nose, the EDC smells like this. You have lots of citrus and pleasant soapiness on the opening, even more than in the aftershave, quote, lotion splash. And again, in Europe, they use the word lotion to describe what we would call a splash here in the States. So it's not creamy like we would use the word lotion, but it's more of a splash. In the US, we would much more likely associate the word lotion with a balm. You get the vanilla, the amber, the tonka bean, and tobacco as it dries down. And for me, those notes produce a much sweeter, rounder, less sharp accord on the dry down. And as a result, I find that I like the EDC much better than the EDT. Not only is the dry down much more appealing to me, but the opening notes are much less harsh and sharp and biting and a bit more complex and well blended. Now, the aftershave splash, aka lotion, that I'm about to use in the shave smells more like the EDC than the EDT, which is a good thing for me. I also find that it has an excellent face feel and works great. Now, I also enjoy the balm quite a bit. What's interesting about it, though, is that it's most similar to the EDC up top, but it leans more towards the EDT on the dry down, so you get more of that soapy, green, peppery florals on the balm, where the splash, aka lotion, sticks more to the DNA of the EDC. This too has an excellent face feel and leaves your face feeling moisturized and nourished. Okay, an up-close look at the differences between the balm and the splash. And the splash has a limiter splash top that you can shake out, and of course a squeeze tube for the balm. Okay, so we're going to apply the splash. You can see I noticed I left the shaved-in door open, so I closed that. And just rub it together in the hands and apply it as you would any splash. As I said, excellent face feel. Feels great going on. No burn. Now to the balm. You can see it comes out creamy like what we would call a lotion. It also has that great face feel, as I said, and just leaves your face feeling supple and moisturized. Now I splash on a little of the eau de cologne onto the neck and put some of the excess on the arms. A lot of people would use this out of the shower sort of as a body splash. One final tip for you, it's helpful to clean off your razor and dry it well to prevent the buildup of soap residue, aka soap scum. So thanks for joining me in this shave, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.
Tabac Original für den aktiven Mann. Prickelndes Aftershave. Anhaltend frisches Deodorant. Long-lasting Eau de Toilette. Männer haben ihre Freude daran. Tabac Original.